And then I did this. I did this. And then I did this. I did this.
And tonight on CBS News.
In a shocking development, the federal government says being broke is allowed, but if you're broke and glowing, you are officially now a suspect.
You can't be glowing more than your financial status. Look your problem.
Producers have confirmed next season of Love Island will merge with the Hunger Games. Only one couple will survive the new format. Everyone else dies.
Senator Buck Nutley has unveiled his Big Girthy bill, a new proposal meant to rival the Big Beautiful bill. But does size really matter?
The shocking trend of Labubu violation continues as more and more people are finding their dolls' holes stretched wide open and reeking of shame.
If you thought Bigfoot was bad, wait till you meet his gooey cousin. A kumsquatch was just spotted in Dongwood National Forest.
Did you know IKEA has released a home glory hole kit called the 𝐓𝐾𝐒? It includes pre-drilled panels, mounting brackets, and a stain-proof finish. We begin with breaking news out of Massachusetts, where residents are reeling from what scientists are calling a comet impact.
Officials are asking everyone to stay indoors and to wear N95 masks in case of cum-aerolization.
President Trump kicking off another busy week at the White House.
It has been yet another eventful week in Washington.
The activity level is off the charts. The president dialed in. He is executing his agenda at a lightning fast pace. Here's something we rarely see in American politics. President Trump is actually keeping his campaign promises, and he's doing them as quickly as possible.
This administration is moving at political light speed, and they're just getting started.
We're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do what I'm doing.
Goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form. Have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's official. Former President Donald Trump will be running for president again in 2024.
Has Donald Trump got the stamina and the will to do this again? He's come under such tremendous...
Everything is on the line in this election.
A busy day in the campaign world up in Butler today. Former President Trump holding a rally at 5 o'clock.
He just tried to kill President Trump.
Not even an assassin.
If we're not careful, AI could make it impossible to distinguish truth from fiction in the news we consume.
So, Keisha, what's a high-value man to you?
A man that gave me 10 kids, 3 evictions, $10 on Cash App, and still pull up in a Nissan Altima that sound like he got...
Good evening, I'm Tom Tucker with some breaking news. A local kidnapping has rocked Quahog tonight. Rocked Quahog? Really? The whole town is... The family, maybe, is rocked, but the whole... All right, well, in any event, we now go live to Asian reporter Tricia Takanawa. Let's see how much she's rocked by all this. Tricia?
Tom, I'm standing here with Mayor Adam West with the latest information about the disappearance of young Scotty Jennings. What can you tell us, Mr. Mayor?
Please, Mr. Mayor is my father. Call me John Mayor. Your body is a wonderland, by the way.
What is the city doing to help rescue the missing boy?
Well, we're looking for this child using all the latest technology, including the newest, most advanced multimedia milk cartons.
Help me, I'm missing! Help! Why are you still eating breakfast? I'm kidnapped! Why are you turning me the other way? I'm still here!
Day one of trying to make it to work without yelling at a pedestrian. Pray for me, y'all. Still alive. Still unemployed.
But baby, I look G-O-D doing it. Oh my God, I'm not even late. I'm just dramatic. Y'all know I will risk it all for a good melon.
We have breaking news. A laser-guided ship missile has just been launched from Rectomopolis, reportedly targeting 𝐇𝐎𝐿.
We're live from the scene where a laser-guided ship missile launched from Rectomopolis has struck 𝐇𝐎𝐿. This just in, a pubnadal blankets St. Louis in a thick bush this evening.
Downtown is completely covered in pubic hair, causing highways to close out of caution.
It's coming right for us. We need to get out of here now. Oh my God, it's taking the houses. A massive jizzard has buried 𝐿ambus in 2 feet of dongload. Locals blame the lack of preparation on Mayor Linda P. Slurp.
The city of Columbus is reeling today after an unprecedented event. What officials are calling a jizzard has left downtown streets. Customs officials at Orbital Port 69 have seized over 420 stolen jork blades, many still warm and dripping. A magnitude 6.9 𝐕𝐹 rattled Clamlip Valley this morning, releasing a torrent of pussy farts. The children's reading session of This Little Piggy Got Pegged has been cancelled, with parents saying the book is too anatomically detailed for kids.
Lawmakers remain deadlocked on the big beautiful bill, with some saying $10 billion more is needed for fleshlights and robo-cooters for dudes on dry spells. Los Angeles, because she served her fried chicken instead of a quinoa salad.
Megan Mayonnaise went to the restaurant called The Last Supper, where she claimed she was flabbergasted that they would serve her fried chicken when she in fact ordered a quinoa salad. Ms. Mayonnaise said waitress 𝐶harkeisha Trinity knowingly gave her fried chicken, although Ms. Mayonnaise pleaded that she didn't want to eat any urban food. We have Ms. Mayonnaise along with her attorney, Roger Bangher. Can you explain how you were feeling, Ms. Mayonnaise?
I told 𝐶harkeisha Trinity 300 times, let me speak with your manager. And she just kept twerking, sticking her tongue out and laughing at me.
We have exclusive CCTV footage from the restaurant of Miss Mayonnaise and 𝐶harkeisha's fried chicken confrontation.
Miss Mayonnaise is suing 𝐶harkeisha Trinity for everything she got, which is 3 deadbeat fathers and $100 in unpaid child support.
We need your $80,000 down payment now.
Can I do 6 child support checks, 1 EBT card, 10 Section 8 credits, and 2 Medicaid payments?
We take it all.
Welcome back to White News Network. I'm your host, 𝐬𝐷𝐿. Today, the BFI released documents that claim no special files exist from that one famous island. Wink, wink. BFI director said, quote unquote, although you've seen plenty of known people at that island, no American people, you were just seeing shit. The BFI office also released perfectly edited 24-hour surveillance footage of that jail cell where the main guy in charge was being held. At this point, these guys are playing in our face. Most of you are too blind to see it.
Welcome back, folks, to the White News Network. I'm your host, Tom Blandley, and tonight a white woman is leaving her husband after trying a YN. HOA President Skylar White told WNN she is filing for divorce because, quote unquote, after trying a YN, you never go back. Her husband, Kevin White, owner of Proud Boys Country Club, says he is devastated by the news and that it is, quote unquote, total malarkey. The divorce hearing is set for July 13th at Cornbread District Family Court. If Mrs. White wins, she will be entitled to half of his shit that she never worked for. Next up, rock star Roger Bangher has already impregnated 3 women on his Fuckfest tour. But first, a word from our sponsor.
WHR, would y'all let me fly the plane to Iran? I thought B2 was my apartment number. Oh my God, did I just start the war?
Introducing ChatEBT, the newest AI software limited only to 13% of people. ChatEBT isn't just another basic AI myth. It's built for real-life situations. Let's showcase an example of a man asking for food recommendations.
I'm starving, gang. Let's open ChatEBT. What should I eat tonight?
ChatEBT is fully aligned with real-time data, giving you the most accurate, up-to-date definitions anywhere.
Define child support.
Unless you ask it to define child support. But ChatEBT isn't just about words or recommendations now. It helps with your everyday tasks and repairs, giving you the best solutions in real time. Here's an example.
Dude, this thing is so annoying, man. ChatEBT, how do I fix this?
You don't, Nick. Thank you all for your time today. We're excited for you to experience the future with ChatEBT. We'll see you soon.
All right, guys, let's do some news. What up, what up, what up, what up? Can y'all hear me out there? Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Yo, what up, no news? You see I'm making use of your images. That simp juice joint you just did. I'm gonna download and use that joint too. Yo, what up, Red Sigma? I see you, Playboy. Can y'all put a one in the chat if y'all can hear me? All right, bet. Man, let's do some news. We turn my chat on. Yo, Pookie and Ray Ray show. What up with you, Playboy? All right, bet. Yeah. All right, we back at it. It's a Monday. Lord of Brooklyn, Kwame Kaiju. I seen you in here. Kwame, I'm gonna use. You sent me that Supreme Court joint. Amy Barrett. I'm gonna go over that. I'm gonna go over that tonight too. Good look on that. Good look on that. Yeah, I'm gonna go over Amy Coney Barrett, the Supreme Court joint. The interview with Brett Baer. Yeah, that was a good one. I had to look it through. All right, let's start off with one of my favorites. Let's do some lefties losing it. Let's do some lefties losing it. See, I'm trying out my new skins and everything. I'm trying to get this news desk its own little custom look, different than the Sunday show and the late night clip show.
When it's time for lefties losing it, and I regret to inform you that the weapon grade crazy is extra toxic this week because two deranged individuals have come together to spew insane lies. It's lefty losing it Hall of Famer Rosie O'Donnell and former CNN chief White House correspondent Jim Acosta. They are now reduced to this. Let's start with Mad Banshee Rosie's crazy claims about who else but Donald Trump.
He paid $1 billion to Jeffrey Epstein over the time of their friendship. $1 billion. You know, before he brings more troops into Chicago and harasses brown-skinned people, before he breaks more of the Constitution apart, before he...
I hate these damn liberals. She's in Ireland, not in Chicago. 50 people just got shot like the last 2 weeks. These liberals be using this black and people of color thing. They be using y'all as a proxy talking point to push their little communist and weirdo agendas. They don't care about the bodies dropping, even the liberals in Chicago. And then, you know, most of those people protesting in Chicago, they're paid protesters, paid off by those Soros nonprofits.
Starts having people get killed. We have to do something, America.
Yeah.
And it's
I agree.
He agrees. Jim Acosta agrees. What is she suggesting there, Jim? More acts of violence, more riots, more assassination attempts? And let's not forget, Jim Acosta served as CNN's chief White House correspondent for years. But even he flinches here when Rosie calls the US president a pedophile. This is incredible. And
What'd you say? Also sponsored by Big Keisha snack cakes. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell needs to be arrested and tried. All these liberals are crashed. And extradited, crashing out. My biggest thing is it's just it's insulting of the general public's intelligence at this point. And at some point, all of this pushing these agendas, using black people as the cudgel, it's insulting at this point.
Rosie, I hope for your sake, Donald Trump doesn't sue you for this slander, though you richly deserve it.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Wake up. Our president is a serial pedophile rapist, and that's what he is.
You know what's crazy? It's actually documented that about Biden and about Hunter. This shows you that we got to get this Democratic Party, like I said, out into the wilderness. It's a party of degenerates and mentally ill.
And in America, you're allowed to have an opinion. You're allowed to say what you think. That's what our country was founded on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, dear.
You said, are these two twins? Oh man, he said, "Are these two twins?" Rosie O'Donnell, you get the gong show. Get out of here.
Rosie, you are entitled to an opinion, but you're not entitled to spew your sick delusional fantasies when they involve defamation. There are legal remedies for that. Now to a current CNN anchor, Abby Phillips, who is schooled here about Social Security by Ben Shapiro. This is embarrassing.
When you're talking about, hold on, when you're talking about the government paying, you're talking about Social Security, which is people's money.
Oh, she got this clip too. I got an extended clip we're gonna go through on this tonight. Actually, we'll just do it next.
Oh, it is. Well, it is not the money you paid in. It's
the system that they pay into.
Well, no,
you're calling.
Yes, but believe me, I pay a lot.
I know I pay into Social Security. I don't know about
I promise you, the amount that people are taking out is not the amount that is going in, which is why we are going bankrupt.
Okay, but it's not the government just handing out a blank check.
No, it's the government borrowing money.
I'm just going to tell you right off the gate. Ben Shapiro is not the one Abby Phillips should be going back and forth with. No matter whether you like Ben Shapiro or not, he is a formidable debater. He's quite sharp. And Abby Phillips does not have the intellectual bandwidth to go back and forth. I mean, Scott Jennings hands her head every day.
You pay in X dollars, and then you get multiple times X dollars when you retire. That is how the system works. It is not a lockbox.
Now to another former CNN anchor who's now producing their own online content, Don Lemon. Here he is.
Bro, you got to see this cringe Don Lemon thing. International Quiet Storm in the building. What up, Playboy? He said now she's an advocate of free speech. Meanwhile, the last administration was paying organizations to suppress non-liberal content, including this channel. Shut up, Rosie. Hell yeah, Rosie once again gets the call. Yo, watch this cringe Don Lemon shit, bro.
With Democrat beta boy Harry Sisson, and they're coming to save democracy. While we're
Wait, let's run that back because this is the typical Democrat male. Tell me you're a Democrat without telling me you're a Democrat. Tell me you are a Democrat without telling me that you're a Democrat.
She got your ass.
While we're on Don Lemon, did he put his foot in it with Democrat Sarah McBride, who is a man who identifies as a woman?
This is my car. I'm heading back to Delaware.
It is, dude. Do you have a Hemi in here? What is it?
This is a beautiful Chevy Equinox, American made.
You got a whole closet back there.
Dude, that's a misgender if I ever heard one. Straight to re-education camp.
That's facts, Red Sigma. Yeah, Kamala Harris actually is on the record saying that in a speech that we need to censor social media more. Especially since we was forcing her to take that massive L during election season. Harry had his head handed to him on TikTok by everybody. That's because he was knocking down all them septum ring blue hair liberal broads. Whatchamacallit? I thought he was backdooria. Man. Whatchamacallit? Pookie and Ray show. You was at the conclave too? I seen all the pictures and stuff, man. You guys look like y'all had a good time.
And sticking with Don, he is out there trying to save democracy, he calls it, trying to whip up fear about Trump's law and order crackdown. But here a Maryland woman explains what happened to her family because of the lawlessness that's happening in big cities.
My husband was murdered 2 years ago, and nothing was ever done.
Murder where? At home?
Right out in front of her house.
Sorry.
It was a carjacking gone wrong, and they shot him in his head. Killed him instantly, so But again, our lovely mayor didn't do nothing.
Did they ever find the perpetrator?
Nope.
So you want to see it?
Yes, I want justice.
You want justice, and you would like to see the troops here in the national.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Poor Don is not having much luck on the street. Here he is in New York City.
How you doing, sir? Good. Can we talk to you? Where are you from? You live in New York?
Who are you?
Don Lemon.
You're a moron, dude.
Thank you.
Yo, this is so funny. Watch, old boy disses him to his face in New York.
So are you.
Yeah, that's very nice of you to say.
Nice to see you.
Except you've never heard anything I've had to say, and I've heard a whole bunch of what you.
I'm glad you watched me.
No, I don't.
Why?
But you just get clipped everywhere.
I know, but why don't you? You said you don't watch me, but yet you know who I am, and I get clipped.
Before I realized that CNN and MSNBC were full of shit, every once in a while I.
Yo, to his face, bro.
What do you watch?
I watch all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, but why do you say CNN and MSNBC are full of shit?
Because they lie.
But about what? Be specific. What's everything?
Everything.
Now, Donald Trump was back in New York for the US Open in New York City, the bluest of cities in a blue state, and yet he got a better reception than Joe Biden and Kamala Harris get at sporting events.
Through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say.
And here is the president arriving at the men's final and being greeted with loud cheers. You may be shocked by that if you read the media headlines about all the booing and chaos. Then the president signed some hats for fans. Again, this is New York City. That's what's shocking about this. And as POTUS walked through the crowd, chants of USA went up. Funny how that really doesn't seem to happen too much with Democrat leaders. As for the man who would go on to be crowned US Open champion, Carlos Alcaraz, he said it would be a privilege for the US Open to have the president attend.
For me, playing in front of him, so to be honest, I will try not to be focused on, and I will try not to think about it. I don't want myself to be nervous because of it. So, but I think attending the tennis match, I think it's great for tennis to have the president into the final. Joining
me now is Newsweek's senior editor at large.
All right, perfect. That's my segment. We really go over it for old our Indian girl there. Let's go. All right, let me load up this nigga. Squad Storm says, send the National Guard to Chicago now. We don't care what their governor or mayor says. Thug life, biatch. I think you might have got in here a little later, Storm. Yo, check out our new AI job. This is ChatEBT.
Introducing ChatEBT, the newest AI software limited only to 13% of people. ChatEBT isn't just another basic AI myth. It's built for real-life situations. Let's showcase an example of a man asking for food recommendations.
I'm starving, gang. Let's open ChatEBT. What should I eat tonight?
ChatEBT is fully aligned with real-time data, giving you the most accurate, up-to-date definitions anywhere.
Define child support.
Unless you ask it to define child support. But ChatEBT isn't just about words or recommendations now. It helps with your everyday tasks and repairs, giving you the best solutions in real time. Here's an example.
Dude, this thing is so annoying, man. ChatEBT, how do I fix this?
You don't, man. Thank you all for your time today. We're excited for you to experience the future with ChatEBT. We'll see you soon.
All right, let's go. Trump taking the war to the cartels. We already seen them blow up the Venezuelan drug boat not too far off the coast. Everybody doesn't like his chief of staff, Stephen Miller. I like Stephen Miller. He reminds me of Josh Lyman from the West Wing. And he's straight to the point. He's rational and logical. They try to make hay of what he says because he doesn't mince words. And he has to press their ass. Let's hear old Steven.
For generations, we used our military to engage in action against terrorists in the Middle East and in Africa, while leaving unharmed the terrorists in our own hemisphere who are responsible for so much more American deaths, so many more American deaths, who have spilled so much blood across the Western Hemisphere, who have bereaved so many parents and families, and who have contributed to such a horrific cycle. Every major city in America is suffering from cartel violence. President Trump is finally allowing and directing the United States military to use its authorities under the Constitution to defend America from the terrorist organizations that have run free for too long in our own hemisphere.
Okay, that's top White House aide Stephen Miller saying it is high time to use the U.S. military in our own hemisphere against narco-terrorists rather than just the Middle East. We've got triple the number of Americans have died from narcotics, opioid overdoses since 2020 than American combatants who died post-World War II in wars and other conflict zones around the world. Triple the number have died from drugs. This is as Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and top defense officials today said looks like Puerto Rico is going to be a major command base for the Pentagon's intensifying military campaign against narco-terrorism. Joining us now, former acting ICE Director Jonathan Fahey. Jonathan, it's great to see you. What's your take on the news here? So Puerto Rico, military flights out of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is going to be the launch pad for amphibious training and flight operations. There's now 10 F-35 military fighter jets in Puerto Rico. What's your take on all of this?
My take is basically it just shows we're taking it on offense, the war against the cartels. And with this administration, there's always two things that are important. One is what we're actually doing, which is taken to the cartels, and we saw that last week. The second is the messaging, which is so powerful. It really shows the cartels, we're done. The Biden era where we surrendered our southern border effectively to the cartels and didn't do anything to stop them is over. And it also sends the message to all the countries in Latin America that, one, they better get on the side of Team Trump or Team USA and not the side of the cartels because they don't want to get on the wrong side of this. And also that we have their support to fight the cartels. So all of this, I think, is a very powerful message. And Stephen Miller's point and your point is such a good one. We were looking at 101,000 people per year dying of drug overdoses during the Biden administration. And that was up from the number during the Trump administration first was about 75,000 a year. So a drastic increase, and nothing was being done in a meaningful way other than basically processing migrants at the border. So everything has changed. The messaging is good. And I think this will be very effective on multiple fronts.
So Hegseth goes to Puerto Rico after the Trump administration took out that narco-terrorist boat affiliated with Tren de Aragua.
Yes, Storm. You said this. There was a great interview. I saw today with Bear and Amy Coney Barrett. Funny you should say that. That's the next segment. 𝐷𝐿𝐒 sent that to me. Shout out to you.
About 11 narco-terrorists allegedly killed. Puerto Rico's Governor Jennifer Gonzalez thanked President Trump for recognizing the importance of Puerto Rico to the national security of the U.S. and for its fight against drug cartels. And she also said the narco dictator Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela. The governor said, I quote, "I believe we are for the first time fighting the root of the problem, attacking where the drugs come from." We show that image, Mr. Fay, of naval assets in the Caribbean. A lot of Navy warships, in the area close to Venezuela. What's going to happen here, do you think?
Well, I think it sends a strong message to Venezuela, and you've already heard the messaging coming out of Maduro saying they're going to help against the drug trafficker. So it's already been effective, but I think it is just this show of strength when you're talking about Maduro, talking about any of these drug trafficking organizations. It's overwhelming, and they really don't want to face it because they're not going to come out on the right side of it.
Okay, Jonathan Fahey, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
All right, yeah, I was talking with Tito earlier today. and we were talking about this Venezuela thing, and he made a good point. He was like, "Yeah, we might as well crush them now because since they are a communist country, similar to Cuba and the Bay of Pigs, Venezuela's basically starting to use their country as a launch pad point for like direct and indirect aggression towards the United States and our borders." Especially with China and the fentanyl, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, and I didn't know this, that they're apparently trying to invade Guyana, which is like one of the most basically black countries down there. So yeah, that's something. Quiet Storm says this was game plan since presidential swearing in day. Day one, step one, label them as terrorist organizations. Step two, secure the border. Step three, take the fight to them. Step four, give the Department of War free reins. I'm all for it. If they're going to deploy the Navy, use blockades, and then, like I said, stop. Have between the Coast Guard and some of their and the drone activity, shutting down all the movement in the international waterways around our borders. I'm with all that. MS-13 and Trinidad situation is out of control here in the States. Pookie and Ray Ray Show says mainstream America rooted out the gang problem early with Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday in Tombstone. Whether you like it or not, man, law and order is the rule of the day. And listen, I'm a realist. Various versions of crime, this country's built on organized crime, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's more about the way it's conducted, and then especially since the Democratic Party has turned widespread crime into a political platform. That's my fundamental problem with a lot of it. They've turned it into a political platform and as a proxy to keep black community in particular on the plantation and keep pushing these odd liberal agendas through them. That's my fundamental issue because we haven't seen any type of progress or mobility in the right direction up until the point where black men started making this content online and changing the narrative and stuff, as it were. In my opinion, I would say because this is the first time in a very long time I've heard brothers in general talking about policy and voting in their interest and talking like what's the word, asking the question, what's in it for me? Let's put it that way. Storm says they are staging stuff in Puerto Rico. This limits exactly China's influence in Cuba, South America, Cuba/South America, and there any of them attack U.S. territories. The Coast Guard is about to act a fool down there. Yo, bro, that's what I'm saying. While Trump, I say, hey, man, let's just get active all the way. Let the chips fall where they may and let God sort them out. You know what I'm saying? No point in rolling it back now. The cat's out the bag. Let's roll out on them and see if we can shake this shit up. Because basically it can't be any worse than when Biden was in office. That's a whole line. But this is the one 𝐂𝐈𝐄 sent me. This is the Brett Barrett interview with Supreme Court Justice Barrett. And this is the one you were mentioning as well, Quiet Storm. So let's get some.
Justice Amy Coney Barrett, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you for having me, Brett.
You know, the title of this book, Listening to the Law, why did you write it?
I wrote it because I really love the court and I love the Constitution, and I wanted to invite people to experience the court and Constitution with me.
And was part of it demystifying the court or the process?
Yes. You know, I speak to a lot of school groups. I speak to young children. I speak to lawyers, non-lawyers, all kinds of people. And I get the same question.
She's got 7 kids. Does the Keisha on the Supreme Court, does she have kids? Did she have kids with that bread? And Comey Barrett's the one that wrote that scathing rebuke to Jackson's dissent, pretty much saying like you need to go back to school. You don't really understand your job here.
Across groups. How does the court get its cases? How does the court decide cases? Do the justices get along? And I can't answer all of those questions one-on-one, but I can write a book so people can find the answers if they're interested.
Yeah, I've read it, and there is a lot of mystery and intrigue about what happens inside these walls. And the perception of that, like everything else in Washington, is that it comes from a partisan point of view, that there are somehow teams here, depending on which president nominated you for the position. But you write about things like the assigned seating in the court and what you wear when you go to the courtroom, and basically how the outside perception is not the inside reality.
That's right. You know, we don't wear red and blue. We all wear black because judges are nonpartisan. And the idea is that we're all listening to the law. We're all trying to get it right. We're not playing for a team. We don't sit on specific sides of the bench, left and right. You know, we sit in order of seniority.
And when you listen to the perception about how it's done, what is your thought about that?
Well, there's a disconnect between what happens inside the court and what people think happens inside the court. I often ask new law clerks, what surprised you most when you started? And one of the most common answers is the difference between what's happening on the inside and what people think is happening on the inside.
So, for example, in fact, the focus is always on these divisive cases and decisions, but there are a number of unanimous decisions that the media doesn't cover every year. I mean, we have 42% in this past term, 2024, 45% in 2023, 47% in 2022. You write, one who follows the court casually might be under the impression that practically every case is decided with the appointees of a Republican president on one side and the appointees of a Democratic president on the other. While that breakdown sometimes occurs, presenting it as the norm grossly distorts the court's work.
That's absolutely right. You know, last year, I believe it was 6 cases, you know, roughly around 10% cases broke down by party of appointing president. That's a pretty small number given the overall number of cases that we're hearing.
That said, the current perception, like I said, is that the left is saying this court is protecting President Trump and his effort to consolidate power. You can see that really from the recent headlines. There's a lot of them about that. The overwhelming evidence that the Supreme Court is on Donald Trump's team.
Ketanji's she's got 2 kids. Yo, what up, Universal Black? Pugan Rose says the educated Keisha was impregnated by the feminist school of thought and bears the brain Trojan of the aforesaid. I actually agree. All right, let's get back to this interview real quick.
New York Times, the Supreme Court is backing Trump's power grab. NBC, in rare interviews, federal judges criticize Supreme Court's handling of Trump cases. They say you're helping to certify this move towards authoritarianism. How do you respond to that?
The court decides cases as they come. And one thing that I try to emphasize to students, and one thing I try to do in the book, is place the court in the context of history. We're not deciding cases just for today. And we're not deciding cases based on the president, as in the current occupant of the office. We're deciding cases about the presidency. So we're taking each case and we're looking at the question of presidential power as it comes. And the cases that we decide today are going to matter 4 presidencies from now, 6 presidencies from now, and so on. Each of these cases that we're getting, you know, well, I mean, some of them overlap, but many present different constitutional issues.
Mm-hmm. The right obviously looks at it completely differently, saying federal district judges around the country are overstepping. They're unelected, making sweeping decisions about a president's executive power. When you have to deal with those, it often comes in the emergency docket, which is something different that people don't fully get. Can you explain that?
Sure. So the emergency docket, these are not cases that come up on our regular October term merits docket. Those cases are the ones that I primarily focus on in the book. There are about 60 of them per year, and they proceed very slowly with briefs and oral argument and a lot of deliberation. These emergency motions come up when a case has not fully been decided and settled in the courts below, and they ask for the court's emergency intervention to enter a stay, usually, or sometimes to lift a stay, to maintain a particular status quo while the issue is being litigated in the courts below. So it's not.
Where are we at? There we go. No News said it's a power grab. I don't think these folks know what a president's powers are. Exactly. And I'm glad she's actually talking about this, because I've been making the case that even that the lawfare enacted by the Democrats, which is happening with these emergency hearings, et cetera, although they were good at wielding as a weapon during the Biden administration, what's actually happening is that Trump's turning it into basically to his advantage, and he's actually pushing the limits of his executive powers with regard to the office. And he's basically generating case law now. So all of these lawsuits that they're putting out and everything, they're going to run them all the way up to the Supreme Court, the Justice Department. And he seems to be winning a great deal of them. And then what's happening is with every win, new case law is being put on the books. It's actually a pretty smart strategy on Trump's part.
A definitive resolution. It's what Justice Kavanaugh calls the interim during the interim.
There aren't a lot of them, though. This administration has filed almost 24.
There have been a lot.
And is that because you see more federal district judges stepping in and doing that?
I don't know. You know, the phenomenon of cases being brought on our emergency docket started a few administrations ago. There were some in the Obama administration. There were some in the Biden administration. And now we do have, it seems like we're on a trajectory to have more in the Trump administration. I don't know. I think it's a combination of, you know, increasing use over time, not just this administration, of executive orders. And I think that all the judges, district judges too, are just doing the best we can with a lot of litigation that's been filed.
Most times you're not saying, again, about the merits, you're saying about the process, and specifically what should or shouldn't happen at that time as the case is progressing through the system.
Exactly. It's just, what is the holding pattern going to be? What are we going to do for the interim while the case is litigated? It does not mean that we have reached any definitive resolution about the constitutional or statutory question in a case.
In June, ruling on one of those cases, Trump v. 𝐷𝐿 on birthright citizenship, you wrote this: federal courts do not exercise general oversight of the executive branch. They resolve cases and controversies consistent with the authority Congress has given them. When a court concludes that the executive branch has acted unlawfully, the answer is not for the court to exceed its power to. Some of your colleagues, including Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, said that reasoning was a, quote, existential threat to the rule of law.
Oh, there we go. All right, Brett Bear asking the hard questions and the good questions. Well done, Brett. I want to see how politically correct she responds to this.
I mean, that obviously got a lot of attention, that whole back and forth.
Sure.
And your response to her.
Yes, let's see. I do want to clarify that I was writing for the court. I always feel funny about saying, yeah, I was representing the court, so it wasn't just my own opinion. But I was the drafter of the opinion. And I think that Justice Jackson and I just had different.
Wow, that's even worse. She's saying that wasn't me just writing my opinion in that scathing rebuttal of her. That's her saying, like, no, I was writing for the court. That's our. That was all of our opinion. Yo, what up, Hashim? What up? What's the deal, Playboy? Yeah, Jackson is a goofball. Jackson gets the ball. Get her out of here.
Views of the judicial power. Mine narrower, or the courts rather, narrower than the one that Justice Jackson presented. I hasten to add that Justice Jackson and I get along just fine. Justice Scalia used to say, I attack ideas, not people, and that's my motto too. So we were sparring about ideas. It was not personal. But I do believe that. I think the judiciary needs to stay in its lane.
And she wrote a solo.
Correct.
Yeah, and you responded in an interesting way. They got a lot of attention. You clerked for the late Justice Antonin Scalia, who was known also to have a pretty sharp pen at times. When it comes to your point of view and style, how do you see comparing or contrasting to Justice Scalia?
It's hard for anybody to compare their writing style to his because he was such a fantastic writer. So I'm sure, my writing does not hold a candle to Justice Scalia's writing. In terms of the heat, he was Italian, so I think he had naturally brought a little bit more heat to the pen. So I calibrate mine to the situation, and in that particular opinion, I was writing, in a little bit more of a forceful or, shall we say, spicy way than maybe I sometimes do.
But as far as your point of view about the Constitution, a constitutionalist, the text, explain that for folks.
So,
in that way, you're close to Justice.
Oh, yeah, of course. In terms of philosophy, I did. I learned from Justice Scalia. And in terms of philosophy, my philosophy tracks his. And that is that the Constitution's text controls, and the way to understand what the text means is to ask how it was understood.
Let me see. Nunu says Jackson is on an island by herself. Biden messed up the court for a lifetime appointing her. I agree with that because I've made this point before, whether we want to call her DEI or not, her very confirmation shows that her intellectual bandwidth and the level of ideological indoctrination when she's saying, when she couldn't define what a woman was. But worst of all, it's like she's off to the races, and the case law being the Supreme Court opinions and which side she falls on the arguments, and her dissenting opinions, or at least the intellectual vigor of them, are going to be written down in case law and for perpetuity's sake. So whether she is found lacking intellectually, it's in the history books. And on the flip side of that, I think they were full speed ahead, full gung-ho with this liberal globalist agenda that they were enacting on the country. And I really think that they thought that they had it in the bag with fixing the votes and the illegal immigrants affecting the census with the mail-in ballots. I really think they thought they weren't going to lose for like the next 8 to 12 years, and then having a pliable, ideologically compromised Keisha on the bench. They thought that was going to be a win, and it has Trump's election has proven. What the hell? Trump's election has proven that that is not going to be the case, unfortunately for them.
By those who ratified it when it became law.
And for the folks who say, well, the founders were dealing with completely different problems back then. They were not contemplating what a country could look like decades later. How do they want a living, breathing constitution that changes. How do you respond to that?
The genius of our Constitution, and I talk about this in the book when I describe originalism and describe our written Constitution, is that it's written at varying levels of generality. So sometimes it's very specific. The president has to be at least 35 years old. But sometimes it's very general. We're protected from unreasonable searches and seizures. We have freedom of speech. And to have freedom of speech doesn't mean that you have freedom only to pass out pamphlets in a town square. I mean, it means that you have freedom to be on broadcast news.
Right, and the 22nd Amendment says you can only run for office for 2 terms.
True.
You think that that's cut and dry?
Well, that's what the amendment says, right? After FDR had 4 terms, that's what that amendment says.
not asking how you think about an issue, but scheduling the tariff question. We think that will be in coming weeks?
I don't think that has been scheduled yet, but we certainly take into account requests to move things along quickly when it's necessary, but that one has not been scheduled yet. To my knowledge, you might have more current information than I do.
Well, I don't know about that. You live inside these walls here. You spend some time in the book discussing the Dobbs decision and that overturned Roe v. Wade and the precedent ending the nationwide constitutional right to abortion, as it's so called. You write the court's role is to respect the choices that the people have agreed upon, not to tell them what they should agree to.
Well, the Brooklyn says, again, just imagine if Kamala Harris were president. Anarchy would be the norm in this country. And I think that was the plan.
Yes. So the court's role, and essentially what the court said in Dobbs, was not that we were taking away a right, but that as properly interpreted, the Constitution did not protect that right. That it's one left, like virtually every question, to the democratic process. That's because the court, in interpreting the Constitution is our fundamental document. It's the super law. It trumps every other law. And it represents our fundamental commitments as a people that we have agreed to. And that's a product of the democratic process. That's not a product of what the court imposes on the democratic process.
Do you think that decision is misunderstood broadly?
I do. The Dobbs did not say that abortion is illegal. Dobbs didn't weigh in on that question. Dobbs said it belongs to the political process. And, you know, it's been thrown to the political process, and the states have been.
She's doing herself justice in this interview. She's showing that she's got a firm grasp on the Constitution and constitutional law with regards to its application from a civic standpoint. I agree with her general interpretation. Now, at some point we should find this. If you compare her interview, this recent interview with Bret Baier with her, and then look at some of the Jackson interviews that have been done, it's night and day in terms of the level of intellectualism. I'm just saying. And that's not a argument with regard to a race or even being a 𝐾𝐒. I just think it's coincidental that she's a 𝐾𝐒, that she doesn't have the intellectual bandwidth for the seat she has. A DEI hire. Pookie and Ray Ray show said had Kamala been elected, Black Manosphere Conclave 5.0 wouldn't have taken place, nor would we be here right now. There may be some validity to that point.
Working it out.
I mean, in fact, you write, getting ahead of the American people came at a cost.
Yes, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was herself a supporter of abortion rights, pointed that out. I mean, when the court decided Roe, the country was already moving in a direction of liberalization of abortion laws. But the court then was in the business of making a lot of pretty fine-grained decisions about abortion regulations that Dobbs held belonged to the political process.
Do you see the passion and how did that affect you, all of the fallout from that case in particular?
I think the fallout from that case drove home a point that I make in, I think it's chapter 2 of the book, about the costs of the commission and the oath. You know, you make decisions that are unpopular and you have to face what comes, right? So we don't expect that we will be popular, and sometimes that can be difficult to be subject of public criticism, but that's the cost of the commission.
In your nomination hearing in the Senate, Senator Dianne Feinstein said this.
When you read your speeches, the conclusion one draws is that the dogma lives loudly within you. And that's of concern. when you come to big issues that large numbers of people have fought for years in this country.
That's about your faith. You write about your faith in this book. You say some suggest that people of faith have a particularly difficult time following the law rather than their moral views. I faced that criticism as a Catholic, most sharply when the Senate Judiciary Committee conducted a hearing to consider my nomination to the Seventh Circuit. I'm not sure why. Are you still not sure why?
When I say I'm not sure why, it means what I meant to convey is that people who have faith and people who have no faith at all each have deeply held moral commitments. I mean, I'm fortunate to know many people who do not have faith, who have deep, deep commitments to values. And so I say in the book, whether you are pro-choice because you think you're a secular humanist, but you think it is a fundamental moral right of a woman to terminate a pregnancy, or whether you're a person of faith who is pro-choice because you believe the same, or you are a person of faith who is pro-life, everyone, every single judge, every single person has moral commitments. And I just don't think it matters from where those commitments come. They all must be put aside if one is to judge.
Your book has great pictures from all different times in your life, and also a picture that says 1,000 words as you write, a snapshot of two justices riding an elephant together in India. Captures the relationship between Justice Scalia and Ruth Bader Ginsburg really well. Are those relationships in this court?
Yes, I think that those relationships, I think what their relationship showed and what people talked about so much after Justice Ginsburg died most recently, is that they could vehemently disagree about ideas, but be close personally, have warm relations personally. And we work on that in the court, you know, to maintain collegiality.
Brooklyn says, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, yet another example of the white feminist progressive who was also surprisingly racist against black men. I didn't know that. 60 Minutes hid portions of her interview that revealed it. Maybe we can dig that up from the archive and review that on one of these news segments. That's the meat and potatoes of that interview. Let's I want to do a by the numbers segment this evening, so I'm going to leave a little time. Let's load up this next segment. I think 𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐒 sent me this segment as well. I wanted to do this one real quick. Let's hear it back.
We're out of time. What do you fancy? Awkward pause, mouth organ? You could play the trombone. You could...
I'd like to play a musical instrument.
Well, how about the mouth organ?
Okay, sounds good.
It's pretty simple. Just open the box and blow. Yep, that's great. Best I ever heard. We're out.
All right. Well, let's load up. I want to do this segment because it was actually a pretty interesting segment, and I think it's a canary in a coal mine. It's a picture of things to come. So yeah, let's do this one. This one is weapons company founded by a 21-year-old lands a U.S. Army contract. And this one's interesting. Keep an eye out, guys, because this is the direction warfare in the future is going. And he's got these government contracts for these weapon systems. So let's go.
It's not often you meet a 21-year-old with his own autonomous drone weapons manufacturing facility, but this is Ethan Thornton, and right now he is rethinking the future of warfare with China top of mind.
It's not hard to look at China's dominance and realize that we need to be working very, very hard as a country if we want to maintain relevance.
While China has been putting on quite the show of military might, when it comes to scale, Thornton imagines a very different alternative than the high-tech, sophisticated U.S. arsenal that we're all used to.
One of your missions seems to be trying to imagine what warfare is going to look like, not in 10 years, but in 20 years. You're 21, so that's literally a lifetime for you, and yet not too far down the road. How do you see the future of warfare in 20 years?
To me, what's most concerning is you can look at ultra large scale strike with very, very cheap assets. So if you can find a way to get very small, like $400 to $1,000 drones by the millions above populated areas.
But let me just try to visualize that. So millions of these very low cost drones descending over a populated area.
What you'll see it used for is taking out all of your cell phone towers, taking out all of your high voltage power transformers, taking out your cranes and ports, like essentially just stopping your industrial machine.
His company, 𝐷 Industries, received a Pentagon development contract and has already raised hundreds of millions of dollars to think outside the military-industrial box. And that means churning out as many cheap, deadly drones as possible. The kinds of systems that have transformed the modern battlefield in places like Ukraine. But before drones ruled the skies, Thornton remembers why.
Exactly. This is some Tony Stark shit, right? He's 21. He dropped out of MIT to build weapons. He's got like 3 Pentagon contracts. That's crazy, right? He said, I just brought a Chinese camera and it broke in 3 days. All the parts are from Shenzhen, that's why.
Watching the opening moments of the invasion in high school and realizing warfare was about to change forever.
We have very, very legacy assets, convoy of tanks all rolling basically single file. And now there's this class of weapons that you can use to pretty much immobilize those things immediately.
But when it comes to manufacturing drones, there is no country that comes close to China, currently able to build hundreds of thousands of drones every month.
If we're making a quadcopter and China's making the same quadcopter, we'll lose that fight 10 times out of 10.
For him, if Chinese manufacturing is their greatest advantage, it should be the biggest target. And his focus has been finding ways to try and quickly flood adversarial skies with cheap autonomous weapons.
It's a high altitude dropped long range glide bomb.
He calls this project Glide.
With one glide, you can take that factory out of operation for 3 to 6 months. So let's say you're taking 3 million quadcopters out of the fight with one glide. And that's really the asymmetric offset you're looking to provide.
The specific details of Glide are still secret, but Thornton did show us prototypes of Viper.
You and I could go and set up hundreds of these things in a parking lot somewhere.
Think portable Hellfire missiles, but with more payload that can both take off and land if needed.
It'll come in essentially a plastic case. That case will open up and become the launch stand.
And one of the highest flying ideas being workshopped at 𝐷, Stratus, built around an old and inexpensive kind of tech, balloons.
I think in future conflicts, we will see hundreds of thousands, all the way up to like tens of millions.
Tens of millions of balloons.
Some will be carrying sensors, some will be carrying communications, some will be carrying like decoys to get you to waste your air defenses.
So saying, hey, yeah, come shoot these down. It's going to cost you a pretty penny to get up here.
Exactly.
𝐷 Industries is just one of a whole new field of defense startups hoping to transform the defense industry. For over half a century, companies like Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and Raytheon have made up the backbone of next-gen U.S. air defense and missile capability. But today, 𝐷 and disruptors like Anduril are...
Yo, and I'm going over this segment, 1, because it's fascinating. 2, I think the young boy is spot on. 3, over at Theo University, he's ramping up an army of black men for AI and cloud. Like, it's not a joke, bro. Like, the AI arms race is on. The AI race is the new arms race. It's the battle of who could build the most powerful AIs between nations. It's China. It's between us and China. Russia's working on something, and they're keeping it quiet. But right now, China. And listen, man, I'm telling you, what Theo's got going on with onboarding these brothers like this, we're so ahead of the curve. Like, I don't even think it's I mean, salaries are being earned, there's money, we got set, but I don't even think it's reached groundswell yet. Like black men in tech and the good trades, you know, the plumbing, the electricians, all of that. And with this tech, I'm trying to tell you, man, it's going to be a lot of black bros leading this AI race. And it may be hard to believe, but I'm seeing it on the back end. I just posted something on the community tab about this dude. That's why I think he's 30 something, a black dude, and he's retired in Dubai, and he was like the head of Gen AI over at Microsoft. That's why he cashed out like $3.7 million in stock options. It's on my community tab now. He's living in Dubai. He's like 30 something, black guy. And remember, the operating system for Skynet and Terminator was built by a black guy. It's in Cyberdyne Labs. You feel me? Yo, what up? Yo, what up, Irv? I'll check my WhatsApp. That's what's up. Yeah, so bro, it's definitely on. Let's watch a little bit more of this.
Focusing all their efforts on laying the groundwork to mass produce deadly autonomous systems from land, sea, and sky.
The way I see future defense looking is actually a lot more like the automotive industry, where every year you're essentially coming out with new models. These things are being refreshed on a 6-month to year-long cadence as warfare changes. And then your timelines for development are months instead of decades, but hopefully even weeks.
He's hoping soon they'll have factories like this one spread out by the thousands.
Yeah, so I think a big thing for us is decentralization, is designing products that you can make in very rudimentary, very small facilities. You don't want one factory that if you go to war gets taken out and you lose your industrial base.
Big plans for a new kind of mass production. And for the 21-year-old who dropped out of MIT to start building all this, the future is coming faster than we think.
I'm actually very optimistic in the military doing the right things to procure the right systems. And so we're way behind right now as a country. That gap is widening every day, and it's kind of a make or break next couple decades.
We thank you for watching. And
bang, there you go right there. Quiet Storm just said it. Theo is 3 years ahead. Cloud engineers are struggling with the basic day-to-day stuff we are doing right now, and I believe it. I'm in these classes, and that's what I'm saying. Bro, how Theo is spinning brothers up, and like I said, there are attrition rates and everything else like that. But here's the thing with this, and I'm actually a testament to that. That there are that because you're already in the group and you're already assigned to a study group when you're actually in the group for the classes. So no matter how much you fall off of, you fall off track, you just drop a comment in your study group and you're like, hey, I'm back on it. And people will be like, all right, where'd you leave off at? What you need help with? You need to catch up on some classes? Boom, where'd you sign? Here's the link to the thing. Catch up. Did you take your cert yet? Boom, you need help studying it. You know what I'm saying? There's a built-in support system. It's crazy. Yo, what up, Dave? Yes, Skynet Cyberdyne in full effect. Yo, bro. That's why I did this. That's why I did this weapon system thing real quick. Let me do so 111. Let me do one more Chicago segment, and then let's just jump into about a number segment and call it a night, because I gotta call it a night. Let's speaking of which, let's do a drop.
Is this the gentleman who ruined the buffet at the Harrow Club this morning?
Yes, sir.
I just bet you are the pride of your department in Detroit.
Is this the man who wrecked the buffet at the Harrow Club this morning?
Lower your voice, for Christ's sake.
What, can the guy hear me through the wall?
Yes, he can.
Introducing ChatEBT, the newest AI software limited only to 13% of people. ChatEBT isn't just another basic AI myth. It's built for real-life situations. Let's showcase an example of a man asking for food recommendations.
I'm starving, gang. Let's open ChatEBT. What should I eat tonight?
ChatEBT is fully aligned with real-time data, giving you the most accurate, up-to-date definitions anywhere.
Define child support.
Unless you ask it to define child support. But ChatGPT isn't just about words or recommendations now. It helps with your everyday tasks and repairs, giving you the best solutions in real time. Here's an example.
Dude, this thing is so annoying, man. ChatGPT, how do I fix this?
You don't, man. Thank you all for your time today. We're excited for you to experience the future with ChatGPT. We'll see you soon. Introducing ChatGPT, the newest AI.
All right, let's go. I wanted to cover this one because we just heard the talking points from Rosie O'Donnell about these are the general mainstream media talking points about Chicago, but Democrats are starting to break ranks, and on and on top of that, we said defund child support, bro. That was Tyreek Hill. Yo, the wig wash and the no reach back spray, that's no news. I downloaded them Jones off his community tab and turned them into skins and shit for drops. We fleshing out the News Desk show. It's starting to get its own cosmetic look and its own vibe. All right, let's go.
Vowing to clean up Chicago as protesters take to the streets to rally against the president's ICE operations and potential National Guard deployment. Mike Tobin joins us live from Chicago with the latest on these details. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Lawrence. ICE agents are in Chicago. The National Guard is not. The agents were operating in a northwest suburb called Palatine yesterday, and a source tells me they will indeed be operating in the city today. Despite what Illinois Democrats and the protesters have called for or drawn up images of, there won't be columns of ICE agents randomly picking people off the street. The surge of resources will manifest in targets of individuals about whom the ICE agents have specific information that these people have criminal histories and they are undocumented, but because of sanctuary policies and cashless bail, they are out on the street. And that's the kind of operation you're going to see, small targeted operations. Meantime, the president and his border czar were doing cleanup after that Truth Social post that seemed to channel the movie Apocalypse Now and said Chicago about to find out why it's called Department of War.
We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
So should we expect action in Chicago this week?
Absolutely. You can expect action in most sanctuary cities across the country. We're going to war with the criminal cartels. We're going to war with illegal aliens, public safety threats that rape children, that raped citizens, that committed armed robberies, that distribute narcotics that kill Americans.
Now, we did see a number of protests over the weekend, the largest at Millennium Park on Saturday night. A lot of familiar faces in that crowd because it was a coalition of 11 different protest groups that came together under the banner Coalition Against Trump Agenda. So really, they protested everything under the sun. It fits the definition of peaceful protest. They marched around the city and finished when they were done making their voices heard. As it relates to Chicago violence, we usually get the weekend totals out of Chicago police sometime after 10 o'clock, but the numbers we see right now show that 6 people were killed over the weekend, a dozen more shot. Guys, back to you.
That's an increase from what we reported earlier this month, which was 5. Now it's up to 6. Terrible. Great reporting, Mike.
Got it.
Let's bring in Democrat Chicago Alderman Raymond Lopez. Raymond, brother, we've known each other for a long time. I've gone back and forth to Chicago. Good morning. I want you to help explain the numbers because they continue to say that the numbers are down. Murder's down 48%, robbery's down 11%, burglary is up 9%, felony theft up 44%, misdemeanor theft is up 59%, and motor vehicle theft is up 77%. But I want to go to that murder number.
This segment is good because it's actually a Democratic alderman, and he is Latino or Hispanic to boot. So it's like it's a double whammy anti-liberal identity politics coup on this actual particular stream, because one would imagine, being Democrat, an alderman in Chicago, he'd be supposed to be, according to the Democratic talking points, he's supposed to be against ICE and the deportations. He's supposed to be saying crime is down. And he's supposed to be saying there's no crime issue here in the city, and that there's no need for Trump to come and send assistance to Chicago. Plot twist, he is not saying that. Yo, what up? Saul in the building. What it do, Playboy? Yo, what up, Dave? Universal Black. Yo, Saul here. Whatchamacallit? I don't know if you saw the beginning. Check out this Chat EBT drop. One more for the people in the back row.
Introducing Chat EBT, the newest AI software limited only to 13% of people. Chat EBT isn't just another basic AI myth. It's built for real-life situations. Let's showcase an example of a man asking for food recommendations.
I'm starving, gang. Let's open Chat EBT. What should I eat tonight?
ChatEBT is fully aligned with real-time data, giving you the most accurate, up-to-date definitions anywhere.
Define child support.
Unless you ask it to define child support. But ChatEBT isn't just about words or recommendations now. It helps with your everyday tasks and repairs, giving you the best solutions in real time. Here's an example.
Dude, this thing is so annoying, man. ChatEBT, how do I fix this?
You don't, man. Thank you all for your time today. We're excited for you to experience the future with ChatEBT. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, that shit funny as hell, right? The AI is out of control. He said I had at least 3 things on that list this evening. That's bad funny. Once I figure out how to use those VO3 credits properly, I'm going in. Yo, the AI is no joke, man. I mean, between the AI clips and like the news clips for the news desk, I mean, that's pretty much like made the motif for the show, bro. Let's go.
Because they say it's down. But this weekend, it was 6 people that were killed. Last weekend, it was 11. That's not normal.
Well, any amount of murder is not normal, period. And what we know is that even though we're trending in the right direction, the perception of crime and the reality that exists with all the other categories is that crime is on the rise, and rightfully so. So when the president says that we're going to war, you know, many people are anxious and excited by the fact that Yes, you're going to war against the criminals, those who believe that they can act with impunity in the streets of the city of Chicago. And finally, someone's going to stand up for the victims and all of those individuals who are forgotten after the headlines fade. Every day we've seen where individuals are being victimized in the city of Chicago. In my own ward, just last weekend, I had an individual young man shot in the back of his head walking home down the alley. I had 2 children walking home from school who were stalked by a Venezuelan migrant, both shot, 1 killed. This is not anecdotal. This is reality for many parts of the city. And to hear our leaders like Governor Pritzker and Mayor Johnson say that everything's fine, don't worry, we're doing just great, would be like a cancer doctor telling you that we've cured you just enough this year. We need to save some for next year. No one would ever accept that as an analogy, and neither should we in Chicago.
Raymond, I'm just curious, when you see these protests happening, saying they resist, I just don't see those people when I go to do interviews with the mothers and fathers and the victims that children have died in their front yard. Who are the people that are protesting against this? I hear people saying they need help.
Lawrence, you remember we were in the South Loop together.
That's
and we
right.
had individuals who were excited that, we were taking up this issue of crime in Chicago and wanted help. And sadly, these individuals, these protesters, oftentimes many of them are paid to be there to protest, are trying to play on the sympathies of the liberal democratic politics of the city and saying that we need to stand up for those less fortunate who didn't have all of the amenities of life that they may have had. They try to guilt them into standing up for criminals. And in large part, it's working because people often don't talk about the victims, as we've seen in what happened in Charlottesville, where you had a repeat offender, a dozen times released, just willingly kill someone on a train. That.
I haven't heard the total number of homicides in Chicago for this year either. In any event, when those numbers are actually released, those numbers are going to have to be audited anyway, because they're, like we just saw in D.C., for sure they're going to be doctoring the Chicago crime statistics, especially when it comes to homicide.
Could have been Chicago very easily. And to be honest, many people in the city of Chicago have had it with these protesters who have nothing better to do than to stand up on the wrong side of history.
Alderman, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that was going to be my segue. I don't mean to beat up in Chicago. This is happening in every major city that are controlled in many cases by Democrats. This young Ukrainian woman was fatally stabbed by this repeat offender because they're
there you go. Quiet Storm hit it on hit it on the head. He said, "Here, I'll keep it simple for y'all. It's one too many."
There's liberal Democrat leadership, much like your old DA Kim Foxx in Chicago, Cook County, that want to release these people when they've been violent before and they escalate to murder.
There's a false sense that you could make up for the sins of the past by forgiving the sins of the present, and that's simply not the case. What we need to be is the party that stands up for people, for families like we used to be, the party that believes in being a safety net, but also in accountability. And sadly, the Democratic Party doesn't want to be that right now. They think that standing up for law and order is only a Republican issue, that if you hear the president say we need to make cities safe again, that somehow that is something that we need to stand up against. And history will prove the Democratic Party wrong in this moment. There are very few of us who are standing up to say no.
Yo, I don't know what made this guy go off script, but this is the most sense-talking, rational Democrat, and he's that I've heard in I don't know when. It's a well-reasoned, sensible argument. And like I said, he's like the double whammy. He's a male Democrat, last name Lopez, and in the Chicago machine. Whatever he caught, I hope he's contagious. That needs to be passed. They need to pass that around. But on the flip hand side, I want these dudes to act as left-wing batshit crazy as possible, so we can so that they lose the midterm. Yo, Saul with the $2 super chat. He said, "Wrong side of history." Ha ha! Our message is getting out. You could not be more correct than you are correct, sir.
Is this the gentleman who ruined the buffet at the Harrow Club this morning?
Yes, sir.
I just bet you are the pride of your department in Detroit.
Is this the man who wrecked the buffet at the Harrow Club this morning?
Lower your voice, for Christ's sake.
What, can the guy hear me through the wall?
Yes, he can.
Shit. Got your ass.
Let me see. Democrats create the problems, then act like they're the only ones who can solve them. Yeah, it's a Hegelian dialectic, order out of chaos. Don't be surprised if they try to lock him up. Yeah, for getting off script. All of a sudden he's going to end up with some type of weird case. He's going to catch a weird case, bro. That's how the USAID money kept flowing. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah, Mr. Yeah, don't be surprised if you see Mr. Raymond Lopez, Democratic Chicago alderman, catch a weird case all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? He's going to get accused of like doing something strange to puppies or shit.
We do not need to move the goalpost that far to the left to be relevant. And unfortunately, we have a small segment of our electorate who thinks that that is the right way to go. We see that in the candidacy of people like Zohran Mamdani and others who think that going left of left and now left of that is the course of the Democratic Party. But if we want to be of relevance, we need to get back to the center.
It's so true. It's so few of them, but they're so loud and they get so much.
Bingo. That's the talking point. That's the talking point right there, too. They need to get back to the center. The argument that I've been making is everyone's saying, oh, Trump's so far right. Trump is actually not moving far right. He's moving to the center because the left's going so far left. I keep saying this, that if you boil the majority of Trump's policies down, aside for some of his more innovative things with regard to tariffs or what have you, a lot of his general domestic policy and a big part of his foreign policy is like the 1990s Democrats policy. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's nothing far right about Trump at all. He's a centrist. He's moving everything back to the center. But the fact that people even think that is far right indicates how far left the country has gone. Saul with another $4.99. He says these guys are learning our language and Dems are only doing this to keep power. They don't give a fuck about us. They want to reconstitute a fruit. That's a good one too. A fruitocracy. They want to reinstitute the fruitocracy.
Am I the meanest?
Sure enough.
Am I the prettiest?
Sure enough.
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this town?
Sure enough.
Well, who am I?
Sure enough.
Who am I?
Sure enough.
I can't hear you.
Sure enough.
Shit. Got your ass.
We're out of time. What do you fancy? Awkward pause, mouth organ. You could play the trombone. You could.
I'd like to play a musical instrument.
Well, how about the mouth organ?
Okay, sounds
It's
good.
pretty simple. Just open the box and blow. Yep, that's great. Best I ever heard.
All right, bet. Let's do by the numbers and get the hell up out of here. We are at the 1 hour and 31 minute mark. And I want to thank everybody for coming out for last night's Sunday panel. Good turnout. It was a really good show last night. Let's let up this last segment and get the hell up out of here, okay? Let's do some numbers. Let's nerd out. Do some numbers, man. Let's nerd out and do some numbers. Let me throw on my dummy screen for a minute. All right. And this one is by our guys over at, is this Red Eagle? Over at Red Eagle Politics. There's a lot of new polling guys and political data set guys coming out all over the internet. I didn't know, well, like all this real-time polling and analytics. Yeah, Red Eagle Politics. I just found these guys. I found these guys after I started reviewing Rasmussen a lot. And Mark must not have any new data sets because he hasn't put a new video out in almost 6 days. So they must be pulling new data sets together, which is what I actually like about what Mark does over on his channel. They don't just try to force content out. They try to work with as much new numbers as they have. So this one is let me scroll it down. This one is with regard to the midterms. This one's with regard to the midterms, and it's North Carolina numbers. What is this? Come on, man. Yeah, Republicans keep gaining in North Carolina. This is with regard to the midterms. What do we got here? Oh, did I see another super chat? Yo, yeah, I did. Oh, Saul with another $5 super chat. He said it'll be a liberal, it'll be a liberal banana republic in the way, in the way that we don't want. Exactly, the old banana in the tailpipe, eh?
We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. Man, fuck all you hoes. Fuck you and your mammy and your granny too. And fuck all you hoes. I'm sick of this shit. Fuck all you hoes. And fuck all you. Don't give a damn, bitch, what you wanna do. And fuck all you hoes.
Video down below and subscribe to the channel if you were new. So today we have to talk about North Carolina, because if there's one race that I had to choose that would be the most closely watched, the most expensive race in the country next fall, it's going to be the North Carolina Senate race. You have a Democrat who was a former governor. He has never ran for a federal race. He had decent approvals. He's very overrated, but still probably the best candidate the Democrats could realistically put up. And then on the Republican side, you have somebody who is, relatively generic, Trump friendly, a good fit for the state, and very skilled when it comes down to fundraising. And he is probably a very good candidate to run against this fake moderate individual on the other side, because I think if Thom Tillis ran for re-election, I think that Tillis probably would fall short because nobody likes the guy. Independents don't like the guy. The base doesn't like the guy. I don't know who likes the guy. So when you're looking at 2026, you can see that it's a very important state. And you look at the voter registration numbers, and Republicans gained again. They gained not for the third straight week, fifth straight week, not 10 straight weeks, not even 15, but 19 straight weeks. The Republicans have gained in voter registration, and they gained over 1,000. They're getting like 1,000 a week. And the active voter lead currently sits at 94,118. Republicans before this year never, and I mean never in the history of recorded history, have led the Democrats in North Carolina, but they lead the active voter registration. And then the overall registration is bound to flip very soon. 14,000 right now in the Democrats column.
Yo, I think you're spot on with that, No News. I completely forgot about that. You're right. After Democrats didn't help North Carolina during the floods. Yup, you spot on. NC should be red forever.
In the Democrats' lead. And, when you do these routine purges of people that haven't voted in 3 election cycles or whatever, Republicans are going to have the upper hand in the overall lead. The way that these things are going, Republicans gaining among new registrations. And it's like, if Trump is as unpopular as they say he is, why would this be happening? Like, I understand the new economic data was not good. It's not something that we should ignore, and it's something that we need to actually take measures to remedy. And the administration.
And to the point that he just made about the new economic data not being good, this is what I've been saying the whole time with fucking Fed, with Powell and the Fed chair. What did I say? He had two chances to lower rates, especially when the new tariff money was coming into the Treasury. All the deals were being stuck. Basically all the legs of the economy equation were functioning correctly. All the indicators to lower the rates, and he hid in between a decimal point for a reason not to lower the rates. And I kept someone mentioned it in the chat. A couple of the more savvy analysts mentioned it, and I mentioned it, that all he was doing is he was trying to wait it out. He was trying to crush Trump's economy, all of the headwind that he was picking up, and over enough time, given enough time, he's waiting for something to give way, so that by him holding on and keeping those interest rates as high as he was, he's hoping that eventually something will happen and pieces of the economy will collapse. So it's all selfish, and like I said, they're trying to. We see what happened with these job reports, and those other courts having the injunction to stop calling the tariff deals illegal, and us quite possibly having to refund some of the tariff money. This is a concerted effort to crush the economy, bro.
Has to do that, or there could be electoral consequences, as there is for every time you see an economy that's not doing so hot. But the truth is, the economy has been doing poorly for a very, very long time. You can't really say it's gotten demonstrably worse over the past few months. It's just very sluggish. But if it was really a problem and Democrats were really capitalizing on it, you wouldn't see numbers like this, because we're past the point of ancestral Democrats are just switching their registrations. Maybe you could make that claim ahead of 2018, where Republicans made a little tiny bit of gain, but not a lot. But we're past that point. We really are. I mean, you're seeing massive shifts to the right, and Republicans, their floor is gaining. They're gaining, and you could see.
Yeah, Storm piggybacking on No News's point. But yeah, with regard to the Democratic Party, remember, migrants were greater than the flood victims with no electricity or resources. Matter of fact, Contractor was there in North Carolina, and he was driving up to a lot of the flood damaged areas, and he was saying it looked like a wasteland. And no resources were sent, no FEMA. All that money was being dumped into the migrants. And what was the thing that they came out and said that they were going to give everybody like $300 or something? What? While migrants were walking around with 10 grand a piece on EBT cards? Wow, shit, bro.
This year, you could look at the history, because this is the old data, as we know. We've gained 5,000 Republican registrations in North Carolina.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was. 700. Only offered Americans affected 700. Yeah, while migrants continued to collect thousands, we're staying in luxury hotels, and we're being given houses and cars. It's crazy work.
Since then, but you look at 2016, Democrats had a lead of 650,000. Then it went down to 390,000, then 276,000. And now it's at 106,000, or it was in 2024. And now it currently sits at, in terms of the active registration, Republicans with a 94,000 lead, and the total registration, Democrats have their lead down to just 14,000. By the end of this year, let alone next year, that's going to flip. And it's not everything. I mean, the Senate race will still be competitive. We understand that. And it is true that Republicans were winning the state when Democrats had a massive registration. But at the end of the day, what it shows is that Republicans, their floor is going up. And when you see trends like this, it is telling. You know, ahead of 2008, Democrats were surging in registrations. And the opposite is happening now. And it's continued to happen after Donald Trump's victory in the 2024 election. And there's no signs of it slowing down there or in Pennsylvania or in Arizona. Nevada's kind of in a seesaw right now, going back and forth. But at the same time, it is true that the overall trend everywhere has been favorable for the Republicans. And when it comes down to North Carolina, it's a very good thing because there is a very crucial election. And the state, in terms of how it's gone lately, we've talked about this before. You have a lot of, I guess you would say, populated Republican counties. And you have like the Charlotte exurbs. And Donald Trump, he improved in some. He might have lost a little tiny bit of ground in others. But the western part of the state has been more favorable to Democrats in recent years because Asheville has grown. It's spilled over into some of these other counties, you know, places like Charlotte and the Research Triangle. The growth in the Research Triangle has kind of slowed down, but, you know, they're blue areas. We understand that. They've gone left in recent years, over the past 10, 15 years, but kind of slowing down. But eastern North Carolina, that region, you know, places like Robeson County, this county was blue, I believe, in 2016, or at least it was close.
Yo, you spot on with this no news. And what's crazy is so much effery went on during the Biden administration that you can't even keep track of it, and you almost just forget it. And then when someone brings it up, like everything that you forget when someone brings it's some completely outrageous shit, and you can't believe that you forgot it, but it's because so much outrageous shit was going on. He says, oh yeah, remember that FEMA director got fired for telling workers not to help people with the Trump signs? I think that was that in Florida? It was a Keisha too. It was a big backian from Big Bakistan. All right, let's rock.
And then Republicans have surged there. I mean, now they lead it. I know it's not the biggest county in the world, but they're leading it by 28 percentage points. That's insane. And it's not just counties like that. The entire eastern portion, a lot of these counties have flipped Republican for the first time in 2024, or at least for the first time in a long time. You have also, you know, small counties like Anson County. I believe it's a black majority county, but Republicans have done a lot better there in recent years, and the county has flipped. So a lot of, you know, younger black voters, especially rural, they're more likely in North Carolina to vote Republican than they are in like the black.
Yeah, you like that Big Bakistan? I don't know if I made that up or if I heard that somewhere, but Big Bakistan is good. Big Bakistan is good.
Black belt in Georgia, for example. And that kind of boosts Republicans' numbers. Are doing better among, you know, working class white voters. They're holding their own among college educated white voters. They still vote Republican in North Carolina. And that's crucial because in a midterm year, the college educated portion of the electorate tends to be a little bit larger than it does in a presidential year. So if you're in like the deep South, or even just the South in general, where the working class is less white and more black, which means that you have a bigger portion of that electorate that votes Democrat, like 90 to 10, maybe it's 85 to 15 now, but that's still a massive Democrat block when that block's.
Yo, facts, Saul. And this is the effect. Bro, as small as this channel is, or some of these smaller channels that push the same political line and talking point and are able to articulate it as such, there's a viral nature to this because it is spreading. We're seeing That's why we do these by the numbers segments and stuff like that, so we can actually look at available data sets. We get like sentiment analysis because we go, on our own, because we go, look at what the chatter is on social media now, and look at how the stories are being spun. But this is the closest we get with getting a real feel of things, with the direction things are going, because these are dealing with real polling data sets and stuff like that. And so we get an idea. And to Saul's point, they're having a black problem. This is what this guy's pointing out. Like, man, Republican voter registration's up in these black districts. I guarantee you that they are black men, not quiches or any Big Backians from Big Bakistan. They're having a black problem, and the Dems are crying. Exactly. Dems get the gong.
Turnout is a lower piece of the pie, essentially, smaller piece of the pie, I should say, then you have Republicans tend to do a little bit better. And even though college-educated voters have trended away, maybe there's some signs of it slowing down, as we saw in 2024. We have really yet to see. Does seem like younger voters, as in voters that are like, 24 or under, do tend to be a little bit more Republican favorable, more culturally right-wing. So 2026, this is crucial, because you could talk about the propensity dynamics hurting Republicans in a place like Wisconsin in a midterm year. But North Carolina, we talked about the 1st district, for example, which Donald Trump won. It's like the northeastern portion. You have some blue counties there. You have some red counties for sure as well. But at the same time, Ted Budd actually outran Donald Trump in that specific district by a hair. And when you kind of have that dynamic happening, it's like, okay, they won the state by the same amount. Maybe in a midterm year, Republicans are going to be favorable in some places. And that's true. When it comes down to 2026, that really should be no different. And fundraising matters a lot more. And when you're running somebody like a Mike Whatley, Money Mike, because he has a lot of money, against Ray Cooper. I know his name is Roy Cooper. We call him Ray Cooper because he's going to be coping, and his people are coping, saying he's guaranteed victory. It's like he's polling at 47%. Oh, well, he's ahead of Mike Whatley by 6 to 8 points. It doesn't matter, because nobody knows who Mike Whatley is yet. And a lot of those undecideds are Republicans. The fact that everybody knows who Roy Cooper is, Ray Cooper, and he can't even crack 50% in a poll, it should kind of make you scratch your head. The polls in New Hampshire, where they were testing Chris Sununu against a generic Democrat, Chris Sununu was in the 50s, and Cooper can't even hit 50. He's not that popular as a governor. In 2016, he faced an unpopular Republican incumbent, and he won by like 1,000 votes in a very hotly contested election. And in 2020, he had the COVID bump popularity, because that's when Democrat governors became popular due to COVID, because people, for some reason or another, were not quite yet awoken to the restrictions or whatever. And he faced a moderately weak Republican, and he only won by like 4 points. So again, the guy is not an electoral titan by any means. He's a slight overperformer for somebody with that much history in the state and having multiple factors in each race working in his favor. You think he would have done better? I mean, we just saw Josh Stein run for governor and win by like 15 points. Yeah, his opponent had a lot of skeletons in his closet. That's true. But even if it wasn't for that, he still probably would have won over the generic Republican by, a couple points. North Carolina likes to split its tickets, but when it comes to the federal level, guess what? They don't really like to split the tickets that much. So all these, predictions tilt D. I think toss-up is fair. I think there's a good chance that Ray Cooper could find his way to victory. I think it depends on what the general environment is, but it's going to be very close regardless. And Republicans are very competent in North Carolina, besides the whole Robinson fiasco last year. So regardless, you got a lot of areas in North Carolina that Republicans are capitalizing on. It's like a tug of war. It's a titanium lean Republican state. But the fact that they're padding their registration totals still shows that the state is not showing any signs of willing to, have this massive uprising or surge to elect some Democrat. Although I will say that Ray Cooper is relatively strong for a Democrat. He'll make it close, but again, Money Mike has the money, and that can go a long way. That can define a race. The guy's the former RNC head. And it's kind of funny, Republicans, in the 3 or 4 most competitive Senate races, they're running 3 Mikes and 2 Collinses. Isn't that kind of interesting? Assuming Mike Collins gets the nomination in Georgia. So we'll see about that. But anyways, guys, make sure you guys like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell.
All right, guys. No News says, let's see them folks fundraise without USAID. Going to be fun to watch. I agree 100%. Oh, man. They did it to me again. Yo, StreamYard really be on some extra shit. Cutting off my effects and everything. Cool, they can have it. It's the end of the show. So F you. Yo, that's my time for tonight, gentlemen. Thanks for coming by, supporting the stream. Actually, that's the Saul. Thank you for supporting the stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow, man. We'll do another news desk. And once again, thanks to everybody for showing up, supporting the stream last night, and everybody who actually bought Tito's book. That being said, man, I want to say good night and good luck. See you guys tomorrow.
Is this the gentleman who ruined the buffet at the Harrow Club this morning?
Yes, sir.
I just bet you are the pride of your department in Detroit.
Is this the man who wrecked the buffet at the Harrow Club this morning?
Lower your voice, for Christ's sake.
We're out of time. What do you fancy? Awkward pause, mouth organ? You could play the trombone. You could...
I'd like to play a musical instrument.
Well, how about the mouth organ?
Okay, sounds
It's pretty simple. Just open the box and blow. Yep, that's great. Best I ever heard.
Introducing ChatEBT, the newest AI software limited only to 13% of people. ChatEBT isn't just another basic AI myth. It's built for real-life situations. Let's showcase an example of a man asking for food recommendations.
I'm starving, gang. Let's open ChatEBT. What should I eat tonight?
ChatEBT is fully aligned with real-time data, giving you the most accurate, up-to-date definitions anywhere.
Define child support.
Unless you ask it to define child support. But ChatEBT isn't just about words or recommendations now. It helps with your everyday tasks and repairs, giving you the best solutions in real time. Here's an example.
Dude, this thing is so annoying, man. ChatEBT, how do I fix this?
You don't, man. Thank you all for your time today. We're excited for you to experience the future with ChatEBT. We'll see you soon.
Sorry.
Hey, where's Stewie?
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter.
There it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean, to play us out? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today, and we'll leave you with I can't do it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Stewie Griffin. Thanks for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.